Photoshop, we went ahead and designed our album cover, keeping in mind where the type needs to go. We saved it as a PSD, and then we exported each artboard as PNGs. So now what I'm ready to do is bring in the artboards that I'm going to be adding type to. For myself, the left one is the only one I'm adding type to. If you are going to add to your record art, then you're going to have to do an extra step and do the same thing we're doing, but you're going to have to do it for the record art artboard as well. So we're going to go into Illustrator, and if you haven't opened Illustrator in a while, you can find it in the cloud. You can open it, and you can also update it. Always try to keep these updated because the programs will run faster. Okay, so we're going to be opening up this design, your design, as a PNG inside of Illustrator. So File, Open, and I've got my design right here. So I'm going to open that up. Don't mind the square that's in the center. Okay, there's some things that you need to do before you even begin to set type on this. First of all, we need to go ahead and make our rulers. So Command R, and we're going to put a ruler at 1/8 of an inch for each vertical and horizontal guideline. I want to go ahead and reset my ruler because it doesn't look correct. So I want to make sure it's in inches. Okay, that looks good, but this isn't looking exactly the way I want it. I want it to start at 0 here. So I'm going to drag this down, placing it here, and resetting the 0. So now I'm ready to move my guideline. I'm going to go, here's a half, here's a quarter, here's an 1/8. Why am I putting these there? I'm putting them there because if I was to type and place my type over the edge of this, it could potentially get cut off. So I'm just creating like a buffer, basically. So I'm putting it at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so I will not be putting my type anywhere inside of this area. I'm going to avoid that area altogether. Let's lock our artwork. The other thing you might also want to do too with guidelines is you might want to center, have a central guideline if you're dealing with a very symmetrical design for your type. So I'm going to actually place a center line down the middle because I do want to have a very central design. I'm going to lock that, make a new layer, and I know that I'm going to be putting Dolly Parton at the top, so I'm going to actually title my layer Dolly Parton. I'm going to grab my type tool, and I'm going to go over to my properties panel. Down here, if you click on the little cloud that has a check, it will give you all of the fonts that have been activated under your cloud account. So I know I'm going to be using this one. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to click on the artboard and increase, obviously, the size. Let's start at 72, but I might need to make it a little bit bigger. Make sure you're spelling the name correctly. I'm going to actually increase this to 85. Make sure it's highlighted first, then type in the number that you want, if you want a more custom size. Okay. And I would center this. That is why I made that guideline. And then I want it to be kind of curved, like a flag. So I'm going to go up to Effect, go to Warp, choose Flag, and then I can choose my settings. I can make it more curved, I can make it less curved. Click OK. And then I'm going to choose my color. And if you want to change the size because you still think it needs a little bit of a bigger size, you can go ahead and increase or decrease. I'm going to recenter this, making sure the anchor points are lined up right with the center. Okay, I like that, so I'm going to lock it, make a new layer, I'm going to call this one Jolene because that's the name of the album. But in this case, I'm going to be using a different font. So I want something a little fancy. And the nice thing is when your font is actually activated or type, you can see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to this one, and we're going to call this Jolene. All right, I have to take into consideration that line. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. And center it, make sure it's just right. And I'm going to think about changing the color and making it just white. I like the black better. It stands out more. Okay. All right, we are officially ready. We're going to save this as an Illustrator file. So File, Save As to your Creative Cloud. And then you're also going to export it again, and you need to export it as a PNG. So choose PNG, make sure it's titled correctly, and go ahead and export. Next video, I'm going to walk you through how to add this to the mockup along with the record art, and you will be ready to go to turn in the second assignment. So this is going to be these two, this one and the record art are going to be part of this assignment. The second part of the assignment is going to be to do the mockup.